Hello and welcome to Knobcat Games Dungeons of the Obelisk podcast. I'm your host, Joe Sleppy, and I'm joined today by our Animancer, Nikadir.
Hello.
And our Digital Alchemist, TJ Yadacernia.
Hello.
And if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, this is a audio devlog of sorts for our game, Dungeons of the Obelisk. It's a 2D turn-based dungeon crawling loot grinding adventure. We've been in development now for, I guess I say this every time and then realize I didn't actually do the math to add it up, but we're probably close to like 16, 17 months, I'd say, since we started. And things are rolling right along. TJ's been adding a ton of stuff. I feel like this past 2 weeks you added like a lot of little stuff, nothing huge, no big game modes or anything like that, but we've got a pretty good list of just little things and bug fixes and just all around polish. I feel like it's really coming together.
Yeah, there's definitely been a whole lot of small kind of bits and pieces just filled out the game, make sure everything works properly. Long list of tiny things that needed to be filled in.
Yeah, I was surprised how much of the list got shaved down this time around. It was pretty impressive, and then it gave me a whole bunch of room to add more things. Yeah, we had like some weird bugs and stuff, like the character was like moving around erratically, like if you happened to click like slightly off the map or something like that, they were just running around like wild, go in the opposite direction and stuff for a little bit. But it seems like now that we have all the maps added in, we have all 6 of the maps that Ben drew in the game now, and it seems like now that we've got those in and you spend some time with them, that all the movement and everything seems really good now.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot that had to go on for each map. Just adding in a single map for me took at least an hour. I'd say closer to probably 2 hours for a map. And even then, that wasn't even done. I had to do more smaller adjustments to it. But I definitely like seeing all the variety of maps, being able to run around in different areas for once, see different things. I think I've said it before, is that control room that Ben designed is really good.
I know, I love it. I like that you can kind of go behind the pipes and stuff now too. Like it gives it, you got it on the layer now, so like the pipes actually feel like they're going up into the ceiling of the dungeon instead of just being flat on the ground before.
Yeah, as much as it's a fully 2D game, it gives a bit of a 3D perspective when you can finally go ahead of or behind certain objects.
Yeah, we can, like all the columns and stuff. Did you have to do like each column and torch and thing like individually? Or are they all like on one layer that you could set?
I made use of there was an older system in game that auto-layered the items based off their position. So I just applied that to all of them, then I took it off and adjusted each of them very slightly. Like certain ones had to be just a bit further back, just a bit further forward. But for the most part, it was like if it was a torch, it had to be +5 forward or something. So it got done pretty quickly. So there's kind of a system in place for it.
Oh, that's cool. One of the other things that this is something I feel like I've been waiting on for a long time. I say this on a lot of stuff, I guess, but man, stacking items, all of your like loot that is the same can now stack. So all of your trash items and uncommon items, instead of them just filling your inventory with junk, they now they stack and just take up one spot for like 20 of them.
Yeah, that change is definitely a big one on the system, because now, let's say you had 100 trash items of the same kind of type, 100 at the most would now turn into 4. And that means that the whole system can handle a lot more items, can save a lot more things, can manage your inventory a lot easier with a system like that.
Yeah, it's really great, because like, I don't know, like I designed the game and those lower rarity items so that they could stack, and then that was something that just never happened like in the beginning. Like we got other items like the consumables and stuff were stacking a lot earlier on, but the weapons and loot and stuff never did.
Yeah, I had to be careful when I first added that, because one of the problems to deal with was if you put on a helmet, what happens when you put on 5 helmets now, because you have 5 all stacked together. Making sure it doesn't break the game or some other issue happens, because now you have an item that there's 5 of them. You technically have 5 helmets on your head.
Yeah, and then the same with like the blacksmith. You take one and try to level it up or something, and then it has to move to a different stack. I guess you wouldn't be leveling up if you already had one in a different stack, but would have to go back into the inventory on its own and stuff. There's a lot of like little logic that you don't really think about, like that happens behind the scenes on inventories. You know, you kind of just think like when you're playing, like, oh, I just have all these items and I can do this stuff with them, but like when something's not working right, it's like really obvious how much goes into it.
Yeah, certain things you notice real fast. Like I had the thing for the blacksmith. You level up an item, you take it out, and then it stacks itself differently. But what ended up happening is that although it was a different item, it was still the same item. So the game would end up deleting the older ones. So if you had 10 helmets, you upgrade one, you put it back. The 9 previous ones think they're the same, but they're also different, so they end up deleting itself instead.
Oh, wow.
And that one was instant. It's like the moment that happened, I realized, oh, hold on, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff with the blacksmith too, like what happens if you don't take your item out of the blacksmith slot. Like you can put your expensive companion into the slot and imbue it, and then like close the menu without like taking it out. You have to make sure it jumps back to your inventory and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of safety mechanics that are put in place on that blacksmith, because when an item gets in that slot, technically you don't own that item. It's not in your bag, it's in the blacksmith. The blacksmith has it. If you close out of the game, if you exit the blacksmith, if you do something, unless the game says, hey, get this item back in your bag, it'll just delete it instead. But I think that's all working now, where you can't lose an item through the blacksmith.
Yeah, that's good. I know that losing items is like, if I was playing a game and I like lose an item, that's like it. You know what I mean? Like you're just done. you like don't want to play anymore, because you never know what's going to disappear and stuff. So having all those safeguards to make items safe is definitely a priority.
Yeah, it's one of the most painful things to lose loot for some who knows what reason.
Yeah, losing progress in a game like really kills it for me. Like even like, do you remember like how Animal Crossing like wouldn't save unless you like actually went and saved the game? So if you like happen to close or lose power or something like that, it would like just, you know, your 6 hours of playing that you just did is just gone because you didn't talk to like the mole or something like that.
I never personally played Animal Crossing. I've had similar issues, but not in Animal Crossing. That one's beyond me.
Yeah, well, that's how it works. I played the last version of Animal Crossing, like new. I think, what's the one now? I can't remember the subtitles of them, but the last one, I actually like forgot to save, realized I did it, and I was like laying on the couch, and I like dropped the game out of my hand, and it like fell like 2 feet to the floor, like from the height of the couch to the floor, and it broke my screen, and then I never played that version of Animal Crossing again. So the story is we want to make sure everything's safe in our game.
That's the lesson to take from it. Make sure saving works.
Yeah, absolutely. The next thing on the list that you did is kind of I don't know, it's weird. There's these restrictions that I've had in mind for things. Like obviously you shouldn't be able to like skip dungeons. You should have to beat a dungeon before you can go to the next one. So that's finally in place. You can't just skip to level 10. And then also, if you jump ahead to a dungeon, you know, if you get lucky enough to find a bunch of rares or something and can push ahead, you can't equip higher level items until you're actually that level. And I think those restrictions like add, I don't know, they're just something that I feel like has to be there, you know, like maybe you could get by without those things, but I think it scales the progression through the game and makes sure that you're actually playing the way you're supposed to.
I think it's kind of like an important general standard progression system, because in every game you kind of want to have the player goes in, they go through this straight path of complete this dungeon, you can do the next dungeon. You don't want to have them kind of skipping ahead, say, hey, I bought this item, now I can beat level 4 and I can just bypass 1, 2, and 3 and never even acknowledge it again.
Yeah.
Definitely helps to keep like a balanced gameplay overall, because you now know this player has to do this task, it takes about this long to complete the task, so you can balance for that.
Yeah. We've had that message in the game when you level up. You can now equip level 3 items, but like you could actually just put on anything you had.
Originally a redundant message that actually applies now.
You had you added the artifact and companion shop with a curios shop, and we have the Mask of Takura has been in game working, but this update you added Mr. Donut, which is the first companion that the player can purchase from the shop. I don't know. I'm really liking the system that we have for artifacts and companions. I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to work, and it's kind of a loot box, I guess, you know, but I feel like it's a pretty fair one. So like when you get to the point that you have enough crystals to purchase Mr. Donut from the curios shop, like you actually get Mr. Donut, and then the power level is determined by the loot box instead of just maybe rolling forever and not actually getting him. I don't know, I feel like that's a cool part of the game that's in there now. You know, Mr. Donut, just so anybody knows, he's a frog, a toad, I guess, that hangs out with you, and he can absorb an attack and then return the damage to you as mana. And I've been running around with him in the dungeon, and he feels like not OP, but like very useful. Like whenever you see that attack hit for 0 and your mana pool fill up, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad to have that one in, because the original, the artifact, was, you know, easy. It's something that has been working in game the whole time, but an artifact or companion like that has more unique mechanics to it, getting that in, making sure that it works, now opens up the other companions and artifacts to start getting their functions in. And to finally have both legendary artifacts and companions work, and can have a full set of legendary gear going for you. Makes things look a lot better on my character screen. So, where did the name for Mr. Donut even come from? It's a very interesting one.
A lot of stuff like just pops into my head. And then, you know, if it's a thing that's lucky enough to get written down and then I like it the next day, then it just kind of sticks around. I have other designs for companions that actually have like stories to their names, but Mr. Donut, I just it just came to me. It was a name of a cat that my wife saw on like Instagram or something. It was like named Donut or something, and I was like, oh, Mr. Donut's like a perfect name for like a toad or something in this game. It was just something that stuck out to me.
I definitely think that's a pretty good one. It's unique. I don't think you would forget Mr. Donut and his ability to absorb damage for you.
I feel like you've been quiet, Nika. Have you had a chance to like get in the shop and look at stuff?
Not on the most recent build. I was running through I think 7. I forget if it was 7.2 or 7.3. Which one are we on right this moment?
7.43 is the most recent.
Gotcha. Then I think I was on 7.3. I need to get the new build, honestly. But nah, I've been mostly just focusing on just mob animations lately. Been knocking out some of the bosses, which I understand we don't want to talk too much about yet. But
Yeah, those are the ones we're keeping quiet and under wraps, I think, so that they're still maybe a surprise when the players finally sees them.
Yeah, but no, it's going all right. It's feeling like it's kind of feeling like that big final stretch towards like, you know, like the initial like MVP. So that's been exciting. I'm gonna copy this new build to my hard drive real fast.
Yeah, open it up and see how it's going.
For sure.
Yeah, some of these little things like I've been waiting on for so long. Like now we can have a stop auto settings that actually you can stop on low health. Victory has always been there. You know, you could pause on victory or skip through it. Now we can pause on rare item drops and legendary item drops, and that's super exciting to me because it means you can grind through the game and play pretty quick, but you don't miss important things that, you know, like when you drop that legendary, you want to know that it happened.
For sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice part of the kind of small things that can make a noticeable difference. Because I know when I play, I like to keep going if I win, but I started to put it where the rare and the legendaries will pause the game, because if I get any of those, I want to actually take a look at it, see what it is, see if it's needed or something.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a nice quality of life thing. I think they maybe like all default to on so that it always pauses on the rare and the... I'm not sure how that should work. I guess it defaults to pause on victory so that you see everything. And then when you decide you don't want to just see everything anymore, then you go into the settings and realize that you can pause on different stuff.
Yeah, it should currently be everything's just set to enabled. Although I reset the game a lot and I keep forgetting to change it back. I'll do a victory, I'll realize, hold on, why is it going? And then gotta go do the settings and change it again.
Yeah, a lot of this like game development is like, how are experienced players gonna play? How are new players gonna play? How's you have to kind of like think about how everyone's gonna use it, and everybody uses it differently, so it's a difficult job.
I see the NPCs have chat boxes now. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, how did that not get on my list? I love running around and talking to those guys now.
Yeah, like we've got the whole like, well, it's early, but we've got like the town hub map and everything now. That's really cool.
I think it's funny when you go from town to dungeon, you just see the difference between like a placeholder and a fully fleshed out completed map.
Aw, this is looking so nice in the dungeon though. Especially like with all the lighting and stuff. It's really dramatic.
Yeah, I kind of like the green light that's going on through the dungeon.
Yeah, no, it adds a lot of atmosphere, I feel like. Kind of gives it like a miasma kind of feeling.
Yeah, are you supposed to be breathing this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I just jumped into a dungeon on a new save for some reason, and I should probably have some kind of equipment on me, but I'll just punch him.
The tutorial chest should be there.
Oh,
somewhere.
Yeah. I should that got off too.
Probably make sure it's near the player every time. I think one of them, it's a little distant.
Yeah. We maybe need to, I don't know. We'll have to discuss that sometime, but we're getting to the point where we need to start having tutorial elements so that, like, you can't just go into the dungeon and not have stuff. You know, I think Illusion needs to pop up and tell you to open the chest and equip the gear before you can continue.
Force the player to put something on and not get insta-killed.
Yeah, I could see somebody, like, running in, ignoring the chest, and then just, you know, getting owned and then thinking the game sucks and quitting.
Yeah.
I definitely have seen that before, where someone will play a game and because of a low quality introduction, they'll hate the game because they don't know what they're doing. The game didn't explain certain elements, so they're just lost.
It definitely happens to me with people with games over explaining too. We've talked about this on the podcast too, but I don't want to like read a book before I get to play, you know? So we're gonna strike that balance, I think. I think if we get the player in the dungeon with some equipment on, and then they can go wild from there.
For sure.
A couple other things on our last two items. you actually got that legendary loot drop sound into the game that I made. It's kind of like the original loot drop sound. It's the same 2 notes, but it plays them a little bit shimmery with some reverb and stuff on them. So you know when you get a legendary.
Yeah, I'll be honest about that sound. When I put it in, like set everything up, said alright, this should work just fine, but I never actually tested it. I threw that in, and I play with audio off so often that I would never notice one way or another if anything for audio didn't work. So I looked at it, I made sure to read through, like, alright, this will work, this should work, it's set up to work. So I just left it like that.
No, it does work. You know, it's every time I've gotten a legendary, it's played, and it hasn't played when it shouldn't. Other than it plays on legendary crafting materials, which I don't think are as important as legendary loot. Yeah. So, but we have that on the list to get changed. We can also compare items in our inventory now to what we have equipped. So that's a really nice feature to finally have. Was it left shift?
Yeah, hold a left shift. I feel like that's a huge one because one of the games I kind of use as some reference for loot is Destiny, and in that you can also compare loot, and it's almost kind of like side by side identical, where you see your loot item, you want to compare what you have equipped, it shows exactly what you have equipped in every detail about it. Definitely helps a lot to see what item's better, especially if you have like 2 rares that are close to the same. Which one do you want to use for maybe its major stats or some of its minor stats?
Yeah, it's definitely nice to be able to see, instead of moving your mouse back and forth is what you had to do before. Not too big of a job, but it's definitely cool. It's one of those, like we said at the beginning, we're getting into like the little features, into the quality of life stuff. You know, we have most of the game kind of there. You know, we just got to get this stuff like polished up and to the point where it's working and feels good.
Yeah, there's just like a nice list of small little things that they make the game better, but not as noticeable, not as game changing. Just kind of got to build them up over time.
Yeah, I still think all these things are exciting. I'm like always looking at your change log, and I'm ready to like get in and go through and see what, you know, just to see everything. But yeah, some of these are kind of like, yeah, game has to have that, but I don't know. I still think it's all pretty exciting. I don't know. I guess I told you guys, but we did also put out the job listing for our back-end programmer to try and start getting our servers and things working. And I got a few applications. It wasn't as many as front-end programmer, but I'm gonna start going through those this weekend, I think, and maybe contact somebody. So hopefully we'll have a new dev at some point here shortly.
Right on.
Just saying, it's an important task.
Yeah, for sure. I actually had someone, I guess someone DM'd me like a night or 2 ago about it on the Instagram. I should probably point them towards the job listing.
About the back-end job?
Yeah, because I screen capped it and was like, check out the link if you're interested. And then someone DM'd me and I was like, cool, I don't know any of this information, so I should figure that out.
Yeah, you'll have to tell them to go to remotegamejobs.com, and the link should be somewhere, like on the Twitter for sure.
Yeah, I think
I posted it in the Discord where we post everything, so you can grab it there and let them know.
I think I saw it in the on the website as well.
Yeah, I don't remember if I put it on the website or not. That would have been a good place for it. Well, that's the end of the list, and we've hit 30 minutes on our recording, so I think I gotta call it unless anybody has anything else they want to talk about.
I got nothing.
Right on. If you made it to the end of this show and you're not in our Discord, go to knobcat.com, check out our blog and our videos that we have there, find the link to the Discord, join the Discord, talk to us. We also have the Instagram and Twitter, which are both at Dungeons Obelisk. And Nika has been knocking it out of the park on the Instagram.
Thanks.
Been getting quite a few followers there, so if you're here for the first time from the Instagram, that would be really cool. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess that's it. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.